Hello, everyone, and welcome to our summer shorts. This is our Woven Together podcast. I am Shaun Wigley. This is my beautiful wife, Dawn Wigley.
Hello.
And we are excited. We're going to try to keep these short to the point, but hopefully they will make a difference in your marriage. We think we can address some things that might help you be creative, be spontaneous, be intentional about your marriage over the summer months. And so let's get started with our summer shorts. Today's episode 55. It is creative flirting. And so, babe, I know that you've kind of put this together. Why don't you go ahead and get started with this?
Well, our title is creative flirting. And so, when you're dating or even newly married, it can be really easy to flirt with
Absolutely.
your spouse or the guy that you're dating or whatever. But after you've been married for a while and then, kids and all these different things that come into the marriage, it can a lot of times be really hard to keep that flirting going, keeping that,
Well, there's so many things going on because when you're dating, even if there is some things, your main focus is just that one person. And then you enter into marriage and all these other things take some of that time. So it's harder.
Right.
It's harder to have time to be flirtatious. And also you just get in a rhythm, or some would even say a rut of maybe doing things and not thinking about it.
Right. And being that flirtatious and just expressive in all phases of their married life is just crucial for keeping that youthfulness in your relationship alive. And so, and some of you may be thinking, well, we barely find time just to be intimate with each other. Or, but, flirting doesn't just have to be this big ordeal.
Right.
It doesn't. It's just the little things. And come on, ladies. Your husband probably is already thinking about sex anyway.
That's right.
So,
there's a good chance.
Having that healthy and respectful flirting with your spouse can add that flavor to your relationship.
Right.
And, even in the Bible, there is the flirting between the husband and the wife.
Amen.
You can look at Songs of Songs, chapter 4, verse 9. And I chose the Passion Translation. It says, "For you reach into my heart. With one flash of your eyes, I am undone by your love. My beloved, my equal, my bride. You leave me breathless. I am overcome by merely a glance from your worshiping eyes. For you have stolen my heart. I am held hostage by your love and by the graces of your righteousness shining upon you."
Amen.
So, it is important. Even God has it there in the Bible. So we know that just keeping that youthfulness and not just thinking, oh, we're too old for that, or we're too busy for that, or whatever your excuse may be, you've just got to keep that in there. And so,
well, let me add this. I think sometimes women can think, well, my husband knows that I love him, or that, that I think he's wonderful because I've said it before, I've done it. But it's kind of like the guy who said, well, I told you I love you when we got married. If it changes, I'll let you know. Yeah. Sometimes we just get that mindset. Even women can do that. Like, well, you know that I think you're good looking. That's why I married you. Or that's, I tell you this. But if you flirt with your husband, it doesn't take much. My wife, we've got 5 kids. We've been married almost 20 years. And still, when you say things to me like, oh, you look, it still builds me up. It doesn't, none of that from anyone else really matters to me. But when you say it, it just does something wonderful in me. And it, even I've just seen it in marriages, even marriages that have been married 40, 50 years. When I see spouses do that for each other, the guy, I've got a friend who's in his 80s, but he talks about, my wife said this and she did that. They're still flirting. And I think that is one key to maintaining that, like you said, bringing that youthfulness back. Because let's face it, yes, we all need to mature. We all have things we got to do better. Right. But also, you want to keep that young, vibrant passion of, why did we get married? Right. We got married. I thought you were wonderful. I was like, you were the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I want to not just spend my time with you. I want to spend my life with you. And we were on the phone constantly. I was driving back and forth from here to where you lived 3 or 4 times a week. We were always flirting because it was our natural communication language. So I think it is, like you said, I think it's super helpful if ladies will understand, if you'll just encourage your husband a lot, you'll get a lot more out of him.
Exactly. And you can go on the internet if you're like, well, what do I do? How do I get this
Right. So ideas.
Some ideas, yeah. There are a ton out there. There's so many ideas if you're not a really creative person. We found a lot, but we just picked out a few just to kind of give you a little example. So the first one is just putting edible messages in their food. You know, kids like how you maybe do pancakes and but you can do things like that for your spouse. Just like a little fun little thing for them. 2, you could write just a little sexy love note on your shower curtain for them, so whenever they go in there, they have that to look forward to.
Amen.
Another one would be to send them on a scavenger hunt around their vehicle to end with some special flirty surprise.
Very nice. Getting excited. Yeah, there we go.
Number 4, maybe have some romantic music playing when your spouse gets home for the two of you to just dance to. Just have some fun.
Boy, and you have to be intentional, but again, that changes that whole atmosphere. You maybe come home, you're like, oh, and then your wife has some special music or something going on. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The next one we have is maybe just give him some brownies and let him know that he earned some extra brownie points for the day.
Yeah, there we go. Guys like to eat.
Right. Number 6 would be just taking some pictures of yourself doing your daily routine, whether it's cleaning, doing dishes, or working, or whatever it is. But also just letting your spouse know that while you're doing that, you're thinking about them. Let them know that you're on their mind.
Which kind of touches on what we talked about last week that men can do. Exactly,
right.
yeah.
Exactly. 7, tell your spouse at least one thing you love about them before you go to bed.
That's one of the keys there, because if this obviously could be both spouses.
Right.
You wouldn't want to sit there if you told me one thing you loved about me.
You're waiting.
And I was just like, that's nice, thanks, babe. And then I just roll over and go to sleep. So you would want to reciprocate that.
Right.
But I think it's being intentional to communicate how you feel about your spouse. A lot of times we just feel it and we think they're going to know that. But communicating, it's not so much what you feel, it's what they know.
Right. Number 8, mail your spouse a love note. It's easy to send text messages, but to make it more personal, more intentional, mail them a love letter.
Amen. I think that could go either way.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to get stuff in the mail.
Yes. 9, come up with a special I love you signal that only the two of you can know. Number 10, make them an on-the-go breakfast or lunch with a flirtatious note inside.
That's awesome.
11, here's a good one, babe. At every red light, kiss your spouse until the light turns green.
What's up? Yeah, we're going to put that. Yeah, let's try that. I'll just drive down Main Street every time we go anywhere.
No, this is something you don't want to do every time because,
right.
It'll get old.
Lips will get chapped. You get in car wrecks. Gotcha.
But just every once in a while, just spruce things up.
Just make sure you're kissing. Amen. That's good.
Every
red light. In Roswell, you could hit a few because our Main Street is like jacked. You stop 6 times.
That's true. The last one we have, number 12, a quick massage is always a great way to flirt with your spouse.
Absolutely. And both spouses love massage.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just say that. Who doesn't like a good back rub, a neck rub, foot rub? You know, just taking some time to love on your spouse. Well, those are all great, babe. I think if we can put these into practice, it's going to not just change our attitude towards it, but it's going to rekindle some things and make a lot of these will just remind you of why you got married in the first place and brings out those, because the woman you fell in love with, she's still in there. Mm-hmm. The man you fell in love with, he's still in there. But sometimes the cares of life and all these distractions and all these things that you have to do can just bury that. So you've got to find ways to revive that, fan the flames that got you started. And so I just think it's a good idea. Anyways, that's Creative Flirting, episode 55. We hope that you guys enjoyed that, and we hope you'll be able to put it into practice. And again, there's a lot more ideas than this. These are just a few helpful hints. But thank you for joining us on this journey as we are woven together. Make sure and like and subscribe, ring that bell, and we'll see you next week.